soon be made available to all affected areas starting this Friday.
Proposa 220 metric tons. Tasubua, Zambia, Kiamba Kubwa Friday.
A report by Malawi Vulnerability Assessment Committee MVAC projects that about 5 million people will be in need of food support across the country. Owen Mavula, MBC, Mangochi.
Well, that report was from Owen Mavula in Mangochi. We now go to our next report where we're saying that President Professor Peter Mutalika has thanked Malawians for giving him support during the recent election, saying the votes demonstrated their love and confidence in him. Yamikan Simtowe with details.
People from all walks of life, along with senior members of the Democratic Progressive Party, gathered in large numbers to welcome President Professor Peter Mutalika, who arrived in the city of Lilongwe to carry out several official duties. This was President Mutalika's first visit to Lilongwe since winning the election and being sworn in as the country's 7th leader. Crowds lined the entire route from Mangochi to Lilongwe, all eager to see their leader. Addressing the people in Lilongwe, Professor Mutalika thanked Malawians who voted for him, expressing his gratitude for the overwhelming support in the 16 September 2025 election. He said it was an honor to receive such huge support from all regions of the country. The president pledged to work hard to fulfill the promises he made. On food security, the president reiterated that his government has purchased 200,000 metric tons of maize from Zambia, which would begin arriving in the country this Friday. He said the maize would be distributed to all 28 districts. Speaking earlier, DPP Vice President for the Center, Alfred Gangata, who is also the Minister of State, committed to supporting the Malawi leader in fulfilling the promises he made to the people. Professor Mutalika is expected to carry out various official duties in Lilongwe. Yamikani Simutowe, MBC, Lilongwe.
President Professor Peter Mutalika, who is also chairperson of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation, has sent the message of best wishes to the people of the United Republic of Tanzania as they are going to pause today to elect president. In the statement, President Mutalika has urged all eligible voters to go and vote in large numbers in exercise of their democratic right and contribute to the development and prosperity of their country. Professor Mutalika has further urged all political leaders and their supporters to respect the will of the people and act responsibly through the legal means provided by the laws of the United Republic of Tanzania. The Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODMA, needs an estimated 209 billion kwacha to assist all households that have been affected by food insecurity across the country. Commissioner of DODMA, Wilson Moleni, disclosed this in Lilongwe during the briefing aimed at updating the nation on the implementation of a lean season food response program, expected to begin on 1 November in Machinga. Beatrice Mwape reports.
Delayed and erratic rainfall, prolonged dry spells and other adverse climate conditions affected the 2024-2025 agricultural season, resulting in a 22% decline in food production. As a result, the Malawi Vulnerability Assessment Committee MVAC report indicates that over 4 million Malawians have been affected by food insecurity. To cushion the affected households, DODMA is set to implement the Lean Season Food Response Program. Speaking during a press briefing in Lilongwe, Commissioner of Disaster Wilson Molen said the department has so far mobilized 61 billion kwacha out of the required 209 billion kwacha to reach all Malawians in need. Moleni noted that the food security cluster requires an estimated 168 billion kwacha, of which DODMA has mobilized 46 billion kwacha, leaving a funding gap of 122 billion kwacha. Moleni has added that DODMA is still engaging local and international partners to mobilize additional resources to bridge the shortfall.
Within 2 weeks after preparing our lean season plan. We've mobilized 46 billion, and so we have hoped that the 122 billion remaining might be mobilized for us to reach out to all that are facing food insecurity. In terms of the food distribution under the lean season response plan, the distribution is going to happen in all 28 districts and to all the 4 million Malawians that are suffering. The declaration of disaster does not mean that distribution of food will only take place in the districts that were declared. That declaration, once again, is helping us to mobilize resources, but it's not leaving out those that are in districts that have not been declared.
According to DOTMA, each household will receive either a 50-kilogram bag of maize or cash amounting to 90,000 kwacha during the response period. The government has already allocated 25,000 metric tons of maize as a startup for November and December. So far, funding has been mobilized from the government of Malawi, UK, Ireland, Norway, Germany, the Netherlands, China, Korea, as well as World Bank, USAID, and World Food Programme. On 25th October, President Professor Arthur Peter Mutalika declared a state of emergency in 11 severely affected districts. Beatrice Mwabe, MPC News, Lilongwe.
A total of 224 members of parliament have taken oath of office at the parliament building in Lilongwe. The ceremony marks the beginning of the 52nd session of parliament, which President Professor Arthur Peter Mutalika will officially open on 31st October 2025. We have details in this report by Margaret Mapando and Isaac Jali, but read in studios by Margaret Mapando.
I, Francesca Masamba Tiula, do swear that
the swearing-in ceremony at the Parliament building in Lilongwe marks the start of their tenure as members of Parliament. The two-day event, which began on 27 October, concluded on 28 October with a total of 224 members of Parliament taking their oath of office. Speaking after the ceremony, Joseph Mwanamveka, legislator for Chiradzulu Tumbwe and Minister of Finance, said that members of Parliament should be ready to serve the interest of Malawi and all their constituents.
I will make sure that that whatever we were saying during the campaign, we'll make sure that we deliver, and anywhere possible, even to surpass what was promised. I also want to assure them that now as their Minister of Finance, again I want to assure you that I want to assure Malawians that our President Professor Arthur Peter Mutalika has always said that DPP promises what it can do and it does what it promises. I want to assure Malawians that as their Minister of Finance, I will do whatever it takes to ensure that this economy goes back on track.
In his remarks, Shadrack Namalomba, Member of Parliament for Mangochi Southwest, said that Malawians deserve better services regardless of tribe, political party or other differences.
People should be able to get jobs and we should be able to do businesses, regardless of where you're coming from, regardless of who you are, without necessarily looking at your tribe, your religion, your district, and so forth. This is the only Malawi that we have. So the lessons that we have learned, particularly those that were in government, I think they monopolized this country at the detriment of other districts, other tribes, other religions. I think that should not happen again. Malawi is for all of us. We should have a Malawi. If development has to come, it must go to all areas.
For the first time, Malawi will have a total of 224 members of parliament following the constituency demarcation exercise, an increase from the previous 193 seats.
The Public Affairs Committee, PAC, has challenged newly elected members of parliament to serve the interests of voters by embracing development agendas of their localities. PAC Publicity Secretary Bishop Guilford Matonga told MBC that it is unfortunate that some members of parliament forget to serve the interests of their constituents.
Well, the first thing, we should congratulate them for winning the elections. It was not easy for most of them. There was stiff competition. Having said that, there is a lot of expectation from the Malawian population, from the constituencies where these people are coming from. people are expecting quite a lot. Most of the times these MPs forget the voter when they get into office. Some of them don't even visit their constituencies again. They don't receive calls from their constituencies again. This is very unfortunate. That is what has made a lot of them not to go back to Parliament. Our advice is that continue to work in your constituencies, visit your constituencies, save the interests of the voter, consider the people that are unfortunate in your areas, follow the developmental agenda of the country, and ensure there is development. Ensure proper usage of the constituency funds, development fund. Most of the people that have been MPs have not used that fund very well. It is important that they use that particular fund for the development of their constituencies so that they save the constituencies and develop their constituencies where they're coming from. Save the interests of the people and not necessarily the self-interest of the individual, as well as just the political party that they represent.
You are watching the morning edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories. President Mutalika assures Malawians that his government is working tirelessly to ensure that no one dies of hunger in the country. And a total of 224 members of Parliament have taken oath of office at Parliament Building in Lilongwe. And in sports, Malawi national women's football team qualified for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations after beating Angola 2-0 at the Bingu National Stadium. Welcome back. The Magistrates Court in Lilongwe has reserved its ruling on the defense application requesting that the accused persons should not enter a plea in a case involving 6 suspects accused of attacking activist Sylvester Namiwa and panga hacking civil servants during the demonstration. The state argued that the suspects should not be granted bail before entering a plea as requested by the defense. Defense lawyer Christopher Kambalame said the defense is looking forward to the court's ruling and how it will determine the matter. The suspects are Alfred Kadula, Joseph Gideon, Lamek Mandoa, Lester Kanjunga, Howard Hamza, and Mavuto Njuchi. The court will continue hearing the case today.
The state objected for us to make that application on the basis that they thought that the accused persons were supposed to be given the details of their case, the evidence, since we had objected that they shouldn't proceed to take plea. So the state actually objected that we cannot make the application for bail before the accused takes their plea. So basically what the court has said is that it will make a ruling to the application that we had made tomorrow, and it will also make a determination to their objection tomorrow.
The Democratic Progressive Party DPP Blue League Songwe chapter in Karonga district says they have written members of parliament through the clerk of parliament urging them to vote for Blantyre City Gumula BCA Banana member of parliament Samia Suleiman as Speaker of the National Assembly. DPP Blue League Director for the Youth for the North, who is also the Blue League Committee member, Paul Nkhani, said they have endorsed Suleiman because of his hard-working spirit and passion to serve Malawians. Rudoviko Nyirenda with more.
According to the letter, the DPP Blue League Songwe chapter has addressed to the members of parliament through the clerk of National Assembly. Samia Suleiman is the right candidate for the position of Speaker of the National Assembly. Among others, they say Suleiman is honest, hardworking, and has passion to serve Malawians. Speaking with MPC, the Blue League Director of Youth for the North, who is also a member of Blue League Songwe chapter, Paul Nkhani, said the reasons stated in the letter prompted the chapter to endorse Suleiman to the position of Speaker for 2025 to 2030 National Assembly session and are calling on MPs to vote for him.
We are endorsing Honorable Suleiman for the Speaker 2025 to 2030, just because we have witnessed on how he performed in the previous parliamentary sessions. So we saw boldness in him, and with the choice of His Excellency the President, Professor Arthur Peter Mutalika. You all know President Mutalika always gives us the best.
DPP Brulig chairperson for the North, Shadrack Munde, concurred with Nkhani on the move.
He has been in parliament for maybe decades, and he knows he stands with people, and he knows what he's doing in parliament. You can see those past years he have been there, stand with people, and he's a man who knows what he's doing. So we are endorsing.
DPP National Blue League Secretary General Jack Mavudura has commended DPP Blue League Songwe chapter for the initiative.
That decision is so good, and that's what the APM wants. So as Blue League, as the Songwe, they have done a good job just because they're just complimenting what the Professor Arthur Peter Mutalika, the president, wants. So by endorsing the Honorable Samir Suleiman, that's the way to go.
Speaker for the National Assembly will be elected on Wednesday after swearing in ceremony for 224 members of parliament, MPs elected on the 16th September, which commenced on Monday and ended on Tuesday. The 52nd session of Parliament will be officially opened on Friday this week by the President of the Republic of Malawi, Professor Arthur Peter Mutalika, at the National Assembly in Lilongwe. Rudovico Nyerenda, MPC News, Karonga.
Chief Secretary to the government, Justin Saidi, says government will allocate adequate financial resources to rural areas and constituencies to spur development across the country amid rising urban population. Speaking at the opening of the 4th session of Malawi Urban Forum in Lilongwe, Saidi said government will also empower local councils to identify and prioritize their own development needs to ensure effective use of the funds. Catherine Banda reports.
Malawi is among the fastest urbanizing countries in the world, with urban populations now accounting for 20% of the total, according to Chief Secretary to the government, Justin Saidi. He said the rise in urban populations has led to challenges such as poor housing standards, calling for coordinated efforts to ensure that people in these areas are properly supported. Saidi said government is addressing these challenges by directing more central government resources to districts and empowering communities through decentralization. He added that capable personnel will be deployed to manage resources effectively at local level.
Government has made it a direction that they will support people living in the rural, in the constituencies, in the district, so that so much resources from the central government will go to these areas, and it will be upon the people within the areas to look at what they need and plan for themselves. We are going to give them people that are capable of assisting, because now we have more resources in the constituencies, in the rural areas. Therefore, we need people that will be able to manage those resources.
UN Habitat Director Anna Claudia Rosbach pledged continued collaboration with the government of Malawi to improve urban settlements. She also emphasized the importance of scaling up local initiatives and strengthening partnerships to address urban development challenges. Lilongwe City Council Chief Executive Officer MacLeod Kadamanja acknowledged the rapid pace of urbanization, saying the council has put in place several strategies, including the urban policy, to tackle issues arising from population growth in cities.
From our side as a city, we have developed an urban strategy that is guiding us in how we are supposed to take care of the residents. You have heard of Area 27. It's a new township that has just been created so that we accommodate those that are in dire need of accommodation, especially homes. And then we have also been working hand in hand with the Ministry of Lands.
This marks the 4th session of Malawi Urban Forum following the previous meetings held in 2008, 2011 and 2018, aimed at bringing together stakeholders to develop strategies for addressing challenges facing cities and urban centers. Catherine Banda, MBC News, Lilongwe.
All is set for the first National Health Research Dissemination Conference scheduled for 29 to 31 October 2025 at Bingu International Convention Center, BICC, in Lilongwe. The conference is being organized by the Public Health Institute of Malawi, FIM, in collaboration with other departments under the Ministry of Health and its partners. Speaking during the press briefing in Lilongwe, Deputy Director of FIM's Research Division, Dr. Evelyn Chitsabanda, said the conference will bring together researchers from across the country to share insights on how to improve health services delivery through research.
We saw the need that there are a lot of research undertakings that are being done, that are being conducted in Malawi, but they've got no platform where they can share with the rest of the public on what they have undertaken and what the recommendations that they have made. We know that some do manage to publish their research findings in journals, but how many of us do read journals? How many of us have the access to those journals? So we thought that if we can have this dissemination conference and invite people that are responsible in the implementation of the health care services in the country, it can make some laudable differences for the betterment of our people in the country.
And Dr. Adriano Lubanga from the Clinical Research, Education and Management, CLIMS, emphasized the conference is a step towards driving positive change in the health sector.
After the end of this conference, when we look back, we want to hear and learn as much as possible from this. How are we going to define our success? We will define our success by the outcome that comes from this, that we talked about policy brief, which we aim to develop immediately after the conference. So we will collect that evidence and bring it back to policy. So I think that's what I expect to see, a very fruitful discussion and a very fruitful interaction between researchers, as well as the upcoming ones, as well as the seasoned researchers.
And finally, in sports, Malawi national women's football team qualified for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations after beating Angola 2-0 at the Bingu National Stadium. Faith Chinzimu scored both goals in the second half to secure Malawi's maiden appearance on the continental stage. Details with our reporter, Foster Maulidi.
The dream is now a reality for the Malawi national women's football team, the Scorchers, as they have officially qualified for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. That's after beating Angola by 2-0 at the Bingu National Stadium. Faith Chinzimu was hero of the day after scoring a brace to register Malawi for the first time at the continental showpiece, to the delight of the Football Association of Malawi, President Fleetwood Haiya, Malawi to make history at the continental showpiece in 2026.
Congratulations to His Excellency, Professor Arthur Mutalika, for this win. We told him that we are going to win. He gave us the motivation. We gave the motivation to the girls. Now, these are the results. Now we have given him a reason to call the girls. Congratulations to the girls. We prepared very well. We invested in these girls.
And of course, Love Mafazili is head coach for the Scorchers, could not hide his excitement, heading his girls for the job well done, and of course, calling all Malawians to rally behind the Scorchers as they head to Morocco in 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
I was expecting to have this great result, and we thank God and all Malawians for supporting us. It's not very easy. Angola was a very tough team, and winning 2-0 at home, I think this is great. And lastly, I have to also thank the whole entire technical panel and the players themselves, and more especially the leadership of my captain Tabi. I think it has also helped us to, to go through to the finals.
Yes, indeed, the dream is now a reality as Malawi will be among the 12 teams, continental teams, that will be present at the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, which will happen from the 17th of March to 13 April 2026. From the Bingu National Stadium, this is Foster Maulidi.
Meanwhile, President Professor Arthur Peter Mutalika and the First Lady have congratulated the Malawi women's national football team, the Scorchers, for their triumphant qualification of Morocco 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON. The President says that their victory has brought immense pride to Malawi. Well, that item concludes this edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories before we leave. President Mutalika assures Malawians that his government is working tirelessly to ensure that no one dies of hunger. A total of 224 members of parliament have taken oath of office at the Parliament building in Lilongwe. And Malawi national women's football team qualified for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations after beating Angola 2-0 at the Bingu National Stadium. Keep up to date with our news on all our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You are with me, Simeon Boyce. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Kunotu nezayambika chipwanzo chazokonza mai machesa chakachinonso takulandirani kuno tamvani zomwe mmodzi mwa masponsa athu wankulu wakukonzerani chaka chino uyu ndi Sanemane. Life is getting brighter.
Ifeyo ngati Sanemane udindo wathu waukulu ndikuyendetsa mabizinesi amene ene ache ndi azimayi. Mwini wache wa business ndi mzimayi. Ife tingokhala ngati kuti kubwera kumbuyo kuyika zipangizo eneleza kuti business imene ijasafere banjira komanso ikhale yaphindu kwa nzimayiyo.
Kumakonzeka